Well, good evening, everyone. How's it going? Welcome to Up North Live. My name is Jeff. Joining me, as always, sometimes now and then, is Andrew from DrinkUP. How you doing, bud?
Oh, wonderful.
Good. Good to hear. And joining us for the first time in a little while, we've had him back. I think it was October was the last time we had you on. We really haven't been able to talk a whole lot in the past few months, but joining us is Ricardo Calvario. Thanks for coming on.
No, thank you for having me. Thank you very much.
Absolutely. Yeah, so you've been pretty busy lately, it seems like. Been stateside.
I left Canada about pretty much 2 months now. So, and I'm going to stay here until the 18th. And back then I'm going back to Portugal for a little while. And then I expect to get back to Canada. So that's why I'm not appearing that much. And because in here it's always 7 days a week since I stopped doing 9 to 5, but in here is more intense because we used to do work at the house, and in here I'm constantly getting out. So it's impossible for me to be online, and my phone doesn't work here, so only WhatsApp.
Oh, I suppose, yeah.
Yeah.
So well, good. Yeah, I was gonna say, because I know you're still doing. I noticed you had some fill-ins on the Shaman and Philosopher with Shaman 711 Jason. So I was wondering what was up, and then I found out you were been running around in the Midwest here. So you wanna?
Yeah, it's cold. Unfortunately, it wasn't this cold when it was snowing, but now it's damp, so it makes it worse.
Mm-hmm. We've actually had snow the last 2 days up here.
Oh, really?
Yeah, very unfortunate. It's not a very good year for the Midwest.
At least for the UP. Yeah, no, it's actually started accumulating today on the ground, and we, because we work outside, we call it a day around noon because it's miserable to work in that, just pain in the butt.
Yeah, I should go to, what's the name? Octon? Is that the name? Right up there in the UP, right at the very edge. After Braga, after the museum.
Oh, Baraga?
No, yeah, and after
Ontonagon.
Ontonagon?
It's Octon, I think. It's the last city on the peninsula.
I don't know.
That's
Andy, look that up quick. I was gonna say the only last city in the peninsula by past Baraga, that'd be Lance, and then you head up into the Keweenaw, Houghton, I think.
Houghton.
Houghton.
Houghton. Yep. That's what it is.
Yeah, the birthplace of professional hockey.
I could be going there too before I leave. So
yeah, while you're up there, go check out the S.E. Siemens Museum. Their A. Seaman, the Mineral and Rock Museum on Michigan Tech's.
I went there.
Oh, you did?
I went there with Chris.
Okay.
So, yeah,
that's a cool place.
Yeah, it is.
Mm-hmm.
The glass is terrible for photographs because they didn't apply proper glass, but it's a wonderful exposition, and they have beautiful pieces there of all sorts and types. So,
they even had dinosaur bones and eggs and stuff like that. I couldn't believe it.
Yeah, and that huge piece of copper outside of the biggest.
Yeah, it was one of my profile pictures for a while. I think I changed it since then, but so yeah. Before you go, I say hi to the chat quick because they're just as important as anyone else. We got just another dirty Youper. What's up? We got Eli McGinnis. Hey, how's it going? Wiggly Mufasa. We got Dave from Dave's Multiverse.
Hi, Dave.
Welcome. Comics Dad. Here we go. Exactly. Thanks for being here. You got Sarah. Hey,
I have no idea who she is. Welcome.
No? We got Stasis of Seasons. We got Rebecca hopping in from Sedona. And Jake Wellen.
Hi, Jacqueline.
Welcome, everyone. Thanks for hopping in. And Dave's bragging about how it's already summer here in Georgia.
Yeah.
I've heard it multiple times from everybody.
Yeah.
Not in here.
Yeah, we're talking to a friend that he's down in Florida right now. He's like, dude, it's like 85 degrees and sunny. Okay, that's enough. We've heard it all. All right. So if you want to get into a little bit of what you've been up to in Wisconsin, you don't have to go into too much detail. If you can't, that's all right. Just
so what I've been doing is working with James P. Shears, that is an emeritus professor from the University of Wisconsin, and he mapped, surveyed, documented around 1,000 mounds or 1,000 sites. Right? So all of them have maps, reports, and so on. And after COVID, the organization that holds all this, that is Ancient Earthworks Society, uh, so they slowed down a bit, and things that were happening before COVID were stopped, and things have been quite stalled from there. So I'm trying to help make things accessible, so in the near future people can access all of that information online. Um, we just got like a week ago the equipment that we needed, like a top level vertical scan to scan all these ancient documents. So most of them are from 85, 86, 87. And I'm scanning them, cataloging them, and putting them in a way that anybody can go there and know exactly where they are and consult them and research with them. They will be online, except for those that the owners don't want the information shared, because some of these things are on private property. And another of the things that we've been doing is the maps. So we've been AGSL, which is the second biggest repository of maps in the America after the Library of Congress. They manifested interest in having Jim's maps, and so they already had a batch, but the maps were stored like all rolled and so on and so forth. So they have to stretch them and then scan them. So
Wow.
AGSL is the one who's going to have in high quality, high resolution, big size, all of the maps that are being sent there online for consultation. Some of them will be private because that's the cases where people don't want them to be public, and some of them will be access to academics, and others will be non-public at all, not academics, not everybody, but they will be preserved there. So anyone with necessary credentials can consultate either the originals or a copy online. And
Are these? Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you
no,
off.
no, go
I was
ahead.
gonna ask, are these all like just maps of like old trails, old settlements, mounds, burials, stuff like that?
These are very detailed maps of mound areas, sites, but instead of just seeing them from a mainstream perspective, he made archaeoastronomy on all of them, so we know all the alignments that there are. Long distance systems, like there are sites that go for hundreds, if not thousands, of miles in continuity, and they create themselves a particular line or a geometric feature when they are all connected. Um, so it's beautiful maps, handmade, handwritten. All the writing is perfect, lined, all is made with it reminds me of a work of old, like in the
Mm.
17th century. They were writing and copying things, and the letters were all perfect. It's beautiful. It's beautiful works of art.
Oh, that's great. I mean, because yeah, you mentioned you were with Jim Shears, which I had the pleasure of meeting him last year
Oh, you
along with
did.
you
Of course you did. Of
at
course
the
you did.
conference, the Ancient Artifact Preservation Society conference. And he's an elderly gentleman. Was he got to be 80 something, right? I think he's
Oh,
mid
yes.
80s
I
or
think
late
he's
late
going to
80s.
90. I think he's going
Yeah.
to 90.
And that guy is sharp as a tack. It is unbelievable. Me and another guy were talking to him, asking him some questions, and he went on for an hour just telling these stories. It was unbelievable. I couldn't tell you what I had for breakfast the day before. And this guy went back 40, 50 years, whatever, when he was attending college before he became a professor there. It's unbelievable. No, that
Well,
man is a treasure trove of
yeah.
knowledge.
What he did is quite remarkable, because if he followed the method of the university, he would pick up the students and go survey parking lots or things without any interest at all. It's just to pass the students or flunk them. And what he did is he grabbed them and took them to map sacred sites, mounds. And so a lot of this work was done with him and the students. So there are multiple reports from him, from the students. And because the students were multicultural, like from Middle East, India, they see things differently than someone that just was bred and raised in the Americas. So they started seeing things and pointing things, and they start testing, and then they realize that there is much more to these sites than just structures on the ground or burials. They are much more significant than that. It's a deeply rich culture, architecture, geometry, to the point that he was threatened with a lawsuit from the university because students were finding sacred geometry. They were finding phi, finding Fibonacci sequences.
Almost an alexandra.
And the school said the indigenous people didn't know any concept of mathematics. So either you take all of that out, or we are going to start suing the students and you. And so they had to remove that from. They still put it in the maps. They just stopped putting maps into university. So
That's weird.
yeah. So
Yeah,
well, it's not weird. It's a constant. So.
I was gonna say, as time goes on, we see more and more that the ancient Americans, way before Columbus or anyone else that came here, because Columbus was last, that they were so much more sophisticated than we were told ever. I mean, I'd say this all the time. Like in high school growing up, we even had Michigan history for an entire year. Never learned anything about the old copper culture, the mound builders, or anything like that. There might have been like a sentence about the mound builders, but it said, yeah, they were just living in huts and teepees and walking around. That's about it. But after 1492, it's like, well,
the Toledo War.
Yeah, the Toledo War. Yeah.
Well, there are, for anyone interested, if you go and see the Roundtable Chronicles that I do with Shaman, that is Jason, and with Vince Barrows and Rick Osmond, that are two fountains information. Especially Rick Osmond, not because he is better than the other one, but because he's double his age. So as I learned that the devil isn't wise because he's the devil; he's wise because he's very old. So, and in there you'll find that there is clear evidences, substantiated evidence of Chinese, of European cultures coming here and leaving traces, which are always considered to be fakes or planted materials. Like in the last episode, we talked about the holy stones. They were found under a huge platform that was undisturbed, platform of made of wood that was undisturbed under the soil, and they still call them fake because they had Hebrew written in them, or mixed with some kind of Phoenician on it. Has the 10 Commandments, and they deny it because it can't be. So it doesn't matter that it is in undisturbed soil and inaccessible. It is just a piece out of it, doesn't fit. So let's exclude it. So
yeah, and you see, at some point there's too many of them for them all to be frauds. Maybe you got the Michigan relics and stuff like that. You have the Bat Creek Stone. You have Burroughs Cave. I really haven't looked into Burroughs Cave much yet, but that's on my list. So many different what you'd call out of place artifacts across the United States that don't belong here, according to them. But yeah, I agree 100%.
I think one of the problems is like all the fakes are usually, those shady people who are like, hey, I found this, come see it for $1 constantly kind of thing. And the real history that's like tied to these other findings buried under a parking lot somewhere because they wanted more parking. So they're saying there's no connections, probably because Walmart had to be built and buried everything.
Well, for instance, in here in the Arboretum, you have effigy mounds, linear mounds, and there's two particular linear mounds, one after the other. And on the second one, you have a structure that archaeologists call the quarry. And it's quite intriguing if it is a quarry, because it looks exactly as what a longhouse or something of the sort would be. It has 3 levels, it's separated by steps, it's made of blocks of stone. And I never saw a quarry where the blocks are already cut. You just have to get there and take the blocks, right? So if it was a quarry, everything would be gone. More, if it was a quarry, there would be a road there, right? And then they say, okay, it's not a quarry, so it might be a trading post, post Columbus, of course. Mm-hmm. Well, if it was a trading post, who were they trading with? There's no pathways, there's no connections, there's nothing. So, and it predates the mounds. So who knows how old is it? And it's getting all destroyed because they consider it to be just a quarry. So it's, the trees are falling down on the stones are falling down to the floor, and it's getting disfigured, and it's a shame, because it would be if it was all cleaned, it would be a beautiful place to visit. It's a historical site for sure. And you have the springs, and you have sacrificial stones next to it. You have a crescent moon with the Milky Way above it, Orion, and it marks the explosion of the what it was, Crab Nebula. What is beneath Orion? I can't remember the name.
Yeah,
my
I'm not a geologist.
Piss poor.
I don't remember.
I know where Orion's belt is, and the Big Dipper. That's like, okay, I'm home.
You have Orion,
you
have
go to
the belt of
Betelgeuse,
Orion, and then you have the Pleiades, that is the belt.
Yep. I can't remember.
But beneath it, you have a constellation that exploded. And there's Jason.
Yeah, we got Jason in there. Yeah, I'm trying not to interrupt you. I'm waiting. You know what? You want to check that out, Andy? Look it up. You got the world at your fingertips with your keyboard there.
Sorry?
I was telling Andy to look up to see what was, if we can figure out what that was underneath Orion.
Yeah, I can't remember down the name. But
we'll figure it out. But
it's this crescent moon is as wide as the parking lot.
Oh, wow.
So it's enormous. And I went there twice looking for it, but I was following the map. In fact, I think I have a small map in the car. I was following the map to get there, and 2 times I missed it. And then I went to Jim, convinced Jim, they removed this. It's not here. And there we go, slowly through the trail, going down, and says, now you see this mountain? More or less. So follow the mound, and you'll see it will curve at the end, and follow where the end points. And so it did. Oh. It was a mound, and it became a mound. It was very shallow at the beginning of the trail, but then it gained form. At the end, it curves, and then I went all the way and reached a tree. And then he says, okay, now let's follow down this path. And there it was, the crescent moon, and all the stars, and just impressive. It's still there, ignored, because it's even almost cut by the trail that exists now. But okay. You don't notice it. You just don't notice it. It's just because it's just rocks, right? So you need a trained eye to understand. And for instance, I've been finding more and more what look like snake effigies made with stone. They look like small walls of stones. Look for that in your area, because you're going to find small, like to the height of middle of your lower leg. That they are not very tall, but you can see that it's organized rocks. And then in those rocks, you'll find red rocks that are considered to be a heart. So it's a fundamental point on that structure, or white rocks that have a different meaning. So always look for rocks that are different from the others. Look for flat rocks that are places where they put tobacco and do the ceremonies. look for market trees. So
unfortunately, we got a lot of trees and overgrowth. Those would be hard to find.
Yeah, we went
over demolished buildings. Like I can go in the woods and be like, hey, is that something? No, it's just an old building torn down.
Yeah. Basically, anywhere up in the
give me 30 seconds to go to the car and get that map. Because I think
absolutely. Yeah, why don't you run out and grab that? For sure.
It's small one, so I don't think anyone will blame me for sharing it.
Absolutely not. I'm curious to see it myself. Yeah, like you were saying, Andy, with the brush, you and I, we tried going metal detecting last week, and right now is the time to go metal detecting because there's no trees or shrubs or anything like that. But some areas are so thick with just underbrush and like little saplings and stuff that you can't even move your metal detector around on the ground. And it's a damn shame because we spent a few hours out there and all we found was a bunch of garbage.
Yeah. And then you get the interference because you're swinging the metal detector. It's like picks up on something like, oh, is that something? No, just the little branch, underbrush, whatever.
Yeah. Yeah. Because apparently if you tap your metal detector on a stick, it goes off. At least on mine. It's real fun.
Yeah. Mine was doing that. I was picking up all them tree roots and everything. Just like, oh, hey, it's just trees made of gold.
Yep. Pretty much. Maya Scribe. Hey, how's it going? Get some more of the chat here. Shaman says, Matt, man. Shaman, thanks again for being here. I didn't get you a chance. You're about to see him. Jacqueline says, ridiculously well and cheated our true history. I agree.
This is
here. And then Gemini above the Hyades, Taurus, close. All right. So Gemini could be Gemini.
Maybe outside of the paper, it's better. Outside of the plastic.
Possibly Eli. Thank you. All right, here I'm gonna pull you up here fully.
Okay, so you see the effigy mounds on the left.
Yep. Okay, I can see the crescent moon there. Is that what?
Yeah, you see the crescent moon.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah, far left there.
You see the parking lot, so you can compare the size of the crescent moon and the parking lot.
I can't see the parking lot. It's a little blurry. I can see the dirt really good.
Is this? Whoops, this here.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Oh yeah, that is. Yep, that's pretty big then.
Okay, so you see those two. Whoops, these two linear mounds up here.
Mm-hmm.
So the quarry is this here.
Okay.
So in this you see it bigger.
Oh wow, those are beautiful.
Wow.
So you see the crescent moon, and this is the thing that exploded. I don't know if it's the Crab Nebula. I can't remember the name.
I got Lepus the Hare directly south, Sirius Arcanus Major, Orion Sword, Eridanus, Herodotus.
Hiatus Taurus is close to Orion, but
this in here, Jim says it represents a womb.
Okay.
And this is the Milky Way here, all represented in correct with stones with correct positions. And so the same, and this is the Orion in here. These two are from the Orion constellation.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and this is the quarry. Can you see what they call the quarry? You see the two linear mounds, and beneath it, that's the quarry.
Okay.
With 3 levels.
Wow, that's a big quarry.
And this is the type of maps that Jim does. So
that's unbelievable.
This doesn't have much writing on them, but most of them have. So, but you see all the angles, alignments, everything.
Oh, that's unbelievable. Not only how beautiful maps are, but just the amount of different shapes and alignments they had there. It's just a shame that there might be something in the UP around here, but if there is, I haven't found anything myself yet.
Yeah, but these are maps that are bigger than me with my eyes open. So
oh wow,
it's enormous maps. So you, with all the detail, this is a very reduced print.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Magwai, keep next Thursday open. Thanks for being here.
And so I started with selecting new maps. I think we have 40 something new maps to go to AGSL separated. And there's lots of more maps to do, but now before I leave, I want to finish the scanning of the reports. so that I can put them in digital form, and I'm scanning them in Word so they can be edited and make better if need be, or better graphics. And I'm making them in PDF also, and then printing them. So, and
Yeah, you'll have to let me know on the
that's a lot of work.
Yeah, no kidding. I see why you've been down there for so long and you're gonna be here for a while yet.
yeah, unfortunately, the equipment got really late. Because if I had the equipment in the first month, all of this would be done by now. But there was lots of things to solve first, and so it got delayed. But fortunately, the person, the couple that donated the money for us to buy the equipment, they are extremely generous, and it was fantastic of them, and accelerated the process. Otherwise, I still wouldn't have the equipment.
You're taking different pictures with your phone and trying to.
No, it doesn't work. It doesn't work.
No,
So-
that's. Go ahead, Andy.
I would say, are a lot of the mountains easy to get to, or are you trekking through a bunch of woods, overgrowth, and be like, hey, this is a real pain?
Okay, so they made the things I've seen here, most of them are by the trails, right? The thing is, if you are going to a mount site and you are expecting to understand what it is, you're just going to see elevations in the floor, because a bird is very difficult to see if it is in the middle of the woods. If it is in the middle of the park and you can go around it, you'll see the wings and the tail. You can figure out if the tail is open or closed, right? A bear, you can detect the legs and the belly in the middle, and you know that the head is next. But if they are in the middle of the woods with all the leaves on top and so on, you go by the trail and you see it's a mound. But what shape it is, it's for anyone's guess, because you can't perceive it. But there are much more things to see. So there are the market trees, there are the springs, the stones that you find around, like in the middle of the two of the springs, you find this flat rock. So if you find a flat rock, typically that's a rock that they use for offerings. So people still put tobacco on those stones. So it's the rocks that have been ignored are a very important part of this culture of the mounds. It's not just mounds. It's the rocks and the way they displace them, the types of rocks that they choose to displace. And they say they didn't build it with stone. Well, that's not completely true.
I was gonna say, didn't they like build inner chambers usually and then cover it with the soil?
No, they mean like this quarry. They say,
Oh, okay.
it's not indigenous because they wouldn't build in stone, which is not actually true, because there are some things that have been built in stone. But this linear stone structures, that some of them slither, others go straight, and then make 90 degrees turns, that they say, that's farmers piling up rocks. So farmers doesn't have time. They just put it into a pile. They don't make walls to a mile long.
Not a mile long, but they, at least up around at my property, they use a lot of the rocks for property lines.
Yeah.
Yep. So that's the only
short ones. Yeah.
Yeah. They maybe 100 feet long at best. But I'll tell you what, they are precisely straight. It is unbelievable.
And are you sure it's the farmers?
Yes, because it was an old farm. Excuse me, and it actually runs right on the actual property line. Unless I would have, yeah.
Unless the farmer just moved there, it's like, hey, it's already there. That's property, cool.
Because we find them in places we can say, it was the farmers, and we find them in places that were never farmed, and they normally have a big circle on one end that makes like the coil, and that part is almost always near a spring, right? And then the wall goes, it has sometimes mounds on one side of the other, sporadically. It goes, and you can see there is the oldest trees are the trees that are connected to these lines of stones, right? So the one that I followed in was my first contact with it. I followed in Octon. We followed it. It crossed the road. We continued to follow it, and we had to stop because we're already in somebody else's land. It was not stopping. right?
Mm-hmm.
And who knows who is at the head. And if you've seen some of my initial posts on X, like 1 or 2, 3, 4, 5 years ago, I posted a lot of snake effigies that are not like serpent mount. They are made of stones, and they have a head of a snake on the top of them, like the one in Spirit Lake. Now it's called Devil's Lake.
Okay.
If you know where it is, it's it 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 goes as serpents and it finishes exactly as a snake head. So it isn't made by farmers. I don't doubt some of them might have been to create borderlines or something like that, but most of what I've seen is in places that were never farmed because they are not proper for it.
Yeah, I have to keep. I'm actually gonna. You got me thinking about all the rock piles and stuff around. Oh, it was a farm. I know that, but that one, the wall.
If you question farmers, especially 17th, 18th, 19th century, they would pile this. Rock. Some of them was even, oh, it's a car. No, it's just a pile of rock made by farmers.
Yeah, we definitely got all those piles out in my field.
Yeah. So,
and it's also full of junk and garbage.
Yeah,
they just threw their
old
garbage
cans,
and trash.
whatever they got there.
Yep.
Because to create the line, they have to stop what they're doing to create the line.
Yeah, the only thing that would make sense was like maybe it was a free for all in land claims, and if you didn't mark your property, you could be overtaken. I have no idea.
Yeah, but if you get there and there's already a rock line, you just say here is just fine.
Yeah, that is true. Yeah, that would work out even better. Irish Shytown asked, does this include shell mounds? Are there shell mounds? A lot of shell mounds in the Wisconsin area or no?
The only place where lots of shells were found is Princess Mound in Astelan, where there is thousands of them, and they are not local. They are a species that doesn't exist in there. But mounds completely made of shells, I never heard.
Okay,
I know that there are huge deposits of shells that go meters deep, right? But mound shells, I don't know, because they used a lot of these shells for some purpose. Like, for instance, that the dye that made,
that purple
that made the cartesians what they were is billions, if not trillions, of shells, because they wanted to create the dye from that mollusk. So
Asterland. What is
I don't know Asterland. I know Asterland. Asterland.
Yeah, AZTLA.
Yeah,
whatever. Which was named that because of the mounds, because they thought the Mayan or the Aztecs built it. That's why they call it that, I believe.
Well, before they were the Aztecs.
I fully believe that too.
They were forced to migrate because they were doing human sacrifices.
Oh, good.
And the tribes united and kicked them out, so they had to go. They went south.
That makes sense, yeah, because they showed up in Mexico a lot later than you would expect. They didn't really originate there, so that would make sense. I gotta visit Aztlan. It's really not that far. It's about 6 hours, but
it's not that far from here. But so many things to do that there were places we'd like to go and we haven't gone yet.
Mm-hmm.
So the place that I went is this.
Ooh, wouldn't want to step on a mine. You froze up. What do we got?
Frank's
Hill.
Frank's Hill. Okay, this is by the Three Eagles Foundation. This is a Ho Chunk Foundation.
Okay. Yeah, I can see the effigies.
These effigies are right on top of a hill, one after the other, and people gather there to celebrate the equinox, because the sun, you stay there and the sun is right on the horizon.
Are those the mounds that guy Frank found like 10 years ago or something like that, and he had suspected they were up there because I was watching a documentary on it. I think so. Yeah. Yep. Yeah, it was like 10 or 15 years ago. I was watching a news story about it. He's like, yeah, I was told there's mounds in these hills, and I got some LiDAR to look at it. Sure as hell.
Yeah, lots of them. And if when you're top of the hill, you look left, and that's the place of the ghost eagle, one of the enormous biggest eagles ever found. It's just enormous. And the field was farmed, but when they started doing aerial photograph in the 30s, they saw the ghost of an eagle on the floor of the plantation of the farm. So
wow.
Because the ghost was still there, right? And so I believe that it was Richie Brown with the chunk that went there, and I think with James Shears too, and they put chalk on the edges of those shadows, right? And then flew and took new photographs so they can actually see. And so there's one enormous, two small ones, and it's connected to a site that has many more eagles next to it, but outside of that farm. And so they bought the property in front that have all these effigies that you just saw in the image, one after the other. So that was a cool day. Then we had a small presentation from Richie Brown, who is a Ho-Chunk elder.
Was to stop you there quick, was he the one that was at the conference last year, or was that a different?
Yes, Richie Brown was at the conference.
If I correct me if I'm wrong, but I think Chris was saying that he's like the last full-blooded Ho-Chunk.
Yes.
Okay.
At this moment, I think so. Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
Sorry to take you.
No.
On that, but.
And after that, we went to this site that is close by. With the person, I was with the person that actually does the tours there, and after that, they made a fire and put chairs around, and so we were hearing tales from Richie Brown and James Shears by the fire, and the coyotes were howling in the distance in the night, in the sky. So it was a good moment. Yes, it was a good moment.
Rebecca says where I live in southeastern U.S. and North Carolina has tons of mound shells. I suppose being on the coast, if you're using them for food and stuff like that, you gotta put them somewhere. That's awesome. I've never seen what do they call them? Mitten mounds or shell? I don't know. They just call them shell mounds. But I want to go back to what we were talking about with the clams or the snails, whatever they used for the dye. Because I remember I think it might have been Rick Osmond that was talking about it. He was giving a presentation talking about it, I think, a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
And excuse me. And they use that connection for like the purple colors and purple dye that was the Phoenician or some other European or Mediterranean country or civilization used that purple like religiously because it was like the color of royalty, wasn't it?
Yes.
Yeah.
You see, it's the amount to produce just one liter or whatever it is of that dye is thousands of mollusks. It's an incredible number. It was a huge effort, and of course they made it not only secret, they made it very expensive. So everybody used it after. Yeah. So
that'll be an interesting connection with Cyprus. I mean, copper mining there.
Yeah, that's the name of the island, copper.
Yep. Yeah.
They didn't have much copper, but they shipped a lot of copper they didn't have.
I find that absolutely hilarious because I didn't know that until I met you and started looking over your research and stuff on the Bronze Age copper mining in Europe. And anytime you look anywhere, it's like, oh yeah, Mediterranean, all the Bronze Age was fueled by copper from Cyprus. And you look at Cyprus, it's like the size of Rhode Island or something like that. It's bigger than that, and like you said, I think with I don't know how many tons.
12 tons.
12 tons. Yeah. It's not a lot.
12 to 35. But the Uluburum shipwreck that they say came from Cyprus alone had 10 tons. So that's many years of production, and almost all of the production of Cyprus. So where's the rest of the ships were carrying what? From where?
Mm-hmm.
Where did the copper came from? So and recently they academics published a paper speaking of I got lost in my own I got lost in my own thoughts. About this practice of sourcing the copper from the tin and the lead content. And this paper shows clearly that you cannot do that because you'll get the tin and the lead source, not the copper necessarily, because it may get there by many. Because these people are constantly remixing the copper and fusing and creating new stuff and so on. And it's completely everything is completely contaminated. But even if it wasn't, you will find that the lead or the copper were added. Sorry, the lead or the tin were added to the copper. So you can source that, but that doesn't mean the copper came from. So that they are defending the Otzi man,
Let's see the Iceman.
Otzi the Iceman. Thank you.
Yep.
They found out that the tin in the tin or the lead, but it's one of those, were sourced from Tuscany.
Okay.
So obviously, the copper from his axe come from Tuscany, right? The problem is his axe has 90% pure copper, and you can't get 99.7% pure copper out of ore. Only from metallic copper you can get that level of purity. So if it didn't came from ore and there isn't metallic copper anywhere in Europe, so how do you make that? But they keep saying it comes from Tuscany because of the proxy with the lead or the tin that I can't remember. Right. When his piece was clearly mixed because the level of arsenic was high, it had silver, which is one of the characteristics of metallic copper, and is just above the threshold of purity that can be either from carbonate or sulfide ores, and therefore it's not mined copper. So, and there's another thing in that paper, the copper mines of the ancient world. Those slag piles that give this amounts of extracted copper are being analyzed as if all of that slag pile was just out of mining copper, which is not true. They'll take other things from the same mines, but it all goes to the same pile. Right? And they are calculating the whole pile as copper when it isn't. So the real amounts of copper would be even lower than those that we have in academic literature. So very limited amounts of copper was mined.
Yeah, and being that it's not pure metallic copper, the yield's gonna be much lower too. And I mean, when you have like pure native copper, like the 100 like metallic copper, like you say up here in the Upper Peninsula, you can find a vein of it or a big, huge nugget or a float copper, and you can use that and work on that and have everything you need right then and there. But if it's sulfides and carbonates, you gotta work at it. And the yield's gonna be maybe 2 to 3% per ton or 1,000 pounds or something like that.
So it's and then you get to the other problem. That is the problem of how to process that copper. To process that copper, you need huge amounts of fuel. Right? And that fuel, all being used, would create a setting that could be recognized today by paleo-environmental studies that look at pollen, they look at deposits in lakes and so on and so forth. And there is no massive deforestation. So if they didn't use the wood, they couldn't process the copper, even if they had a way to process the whole 100,000 tons that is found in the archaeological record. If they processed 100,000 tons, there would be no trees in Europe. There would have been an ecological catastrophe, right? Because you need 25 kilos per ounce of copper. It's 25 kilos of coal Now multiply that to the wood. So
Right.
they would cut everything down. And what we find is that what is in the academic literature is the first priority was heating. The second was for food. The third was for housing. And the fourth and last place is industry. And they even say in the academic papers that the deforestation for industry was sporadic because they couldn't afford to use all that wood. So it was very sporadic. It wasn't a constant. So how is that the production of copper was a constant, right? And so if you go and see on my papers, you'll find that following the literature, you find out that if you add 90% of metallic copper, you get the exact 100,000 tons, more or less, right? And you get exactly the deforestation that we saw happening in the paleo environmental record. So it fits with 90% of all the copper being metallic copper. I can't say where the metallic copper came from because otherwise they cut the paper down. but at least they cannot deny that without metallic copper, there was no Bronze Age or Copper Age. It wouldn't have existed because there was just enough. You go from site to site in literature and you find that always the same thing. Local use barely to sustain the necessities of local communities. Always. So where's the exporting? Where this coming, all of this copper circulating everywhere? And you see that they came by three hubs. It came from South England, where they have huge mines of tin. It comes from Donana Park, where you find that Phoenician, enormous Phoenician harbor. So the wall alone that now it's submerged, the wall is 60 kilometers long. 60 kilometers long in an area that now is underwater. Wow. Right?
That's a hell of a wall.
The harbor has a narrow channel that had probably a chain from one side to the other. And then it's circles, like people fantasize of Atlantis. Exactly like those circles were exactly as it is described, where they would have the main ships in the center that no trader could watch their military ships. It's like a secret to them. And the outside of the circle is for the traders to come in and load and get out again. So it's like a one lane that you always keep in one movement. You enter and you exit. And it's Donana Park, and the last one is Cyprus.
Where was that? Did you say Donana Park?
Donana Park.
Was that the one in
It's before Cadiz. It's right before Cadiz.
Okay, I remember. Okay, I know where that is now. We no, what's his name? Remember?
I think I have
David Stig Hansen on. We were looking at that. It's outside, just by the Straits of Gibraltar there.
Yeah, BBC. Yeah. BBC. No, National Geographic did the thing about it.
Okay.
I think I have the slides. I did my presentation of that. Let me just see.
Yeah.
Current project.
How's it going, Tony? Ahoy and welcome. My wife put this earlier back to the dyes. They use sea urchins around Cyprus to make purple dyes. I don't know if I've ever seen a sea urchin in real life. I don't know why I thought of that, but it just came out. And so when I was a kid, I was always afraid to step on one in one of our local lakes, but you don't.
Yeah, very common.
Just give me a second.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
While
you're doing that, while you're looking there, I wanted to. Rebecca brought up earlier where here is doesn't show me the emojis, so I'm going to say good for Quest, and I forgot about that. Quest for Ancients is this weekend in Sedona.
What is in Sedona this weekend?
Quest for Ancient Civilizations.
Oh,
the one that Michael Collins, Watering Wolf.
Okay.
Yep, good. It's on the second of 3 that he's doing right now. Yeah, they got Randall Carlson, Derek Olson, Billy Carson, Randall Carlson, David Hatcher Childress, Luke Caverns, Dan Richards, Oana Gyoko, I'm pretty sure I said that right this time. I can't remember. Cassie Coppersmith, Jason Young Styles. I mean, it's an absolutely stacked lineup. Awesome researchers, great people. And that's this weekend. I thought it was next week, but so I'm gonna definitely get the live stream and try to watch it Sunday when we get back from Minneapolis, but wanted to be there in person. But if you're in Sedona, Arizona area, you can go. Tickets still available. You got pagan Christian mathematician. Hello, fellow young students. Hello to you. Hi. Welcome. Good to see you.
Hi, how are you?
Tony says, I want to go, but my mom and Sith both hit me up for bailouts this month. Oh, man. Well, at least I won't be the only one wishing to go that couldn't go. I would definitely want to go to the one in Texas in October. Yeah, Magwai as well. So, yeah, so the next one is in Austin, Texas. I think is the third weekend in October. And I'm going to try to do that one, take a week off. That'll be my vacation for the year. Did you find it? Okay. If you want to share your screen, I can pull it up. What else we got? Got it? All right. Okay. No, that's all underwater now. From what I remember, correct?
Yeah, it's the swamp area now. So you can see my mouse, right?
Mm-hmm.
So the wall they found goes from here to here.
Okay.
And in here there's another that they think it's where the chains were, more or less here. And they found this by LiDAR. So this is right before Cadiz. It's called the Donana Park.
Okay. Donana Park. I always forget that. I can't find a pen. I'll remember it later.
I got it in my search history.
There you
go. Looking through, I'm like, wow.
Mm-hmm. Hey, I recognize that area. Ricardo. Okay, never mind. Go ahead.
The total of Cyprus that we were talking about.
Mm-hmm.
Very low quality, as you can see. Nothing to do with what was found in the Uluburun ship.
Okay.
So it's 12 to 32 tons. 32 tons, I think, yes.
Okay. I got to make a video on the Uluburun. You know, the main thing that stopped me is because, I mean, anytime I tried looking up the copper purities of the ingots found, it would always just say, oh, here's where the tin was sourced. Here's where the tin was sourced. Nothing about the copper, and I had nothing to go back on to prove a point. So I've been holding off on that. So I don't know if I got to dig deeper, use different websites, try to get access elsewhere. I have no idea. You can go from point A to point B. They can go from point B to point C. Yeah,
it's all based on these main hubs where there was tin for them to ship either the tin and the copper, or make the bronze and send the bronze already made. So the fact is, around 1200 to 1000 BC, by the end of the Bronze Age, you start seeing that the shipments are not coming of metallic copper anymore. And they are trying to mix all the scraps that they have, and that's what you find in the copper, in the analysis of the copper, is so many things mixed. The quality drops dramatically. Instead of these huge ingots that someone looked like a pelt and others like a bun, they are now making very small discs, like this big, and shipping them everywhere. But the discs are already, the guy that receives it only has to melt it and shape it in the form that he wants. It's already done. But it's lots of impurities, lots of additions, which shows that clearly there is no more metallic copper coming from the source that was, well, obviously the UP, but that was sending the copper there.
Okay. What do you think caused the Bronze Age to collapse? Do you think it was Thera erupting the volcano? Do you think it was the sea people? Like they always say, the sea people, the mysterious sea people that went around wiping out civilizations or ports and stuff.
Well, they say that the sea people were coming from a big catastrophe in the north of Europe. So, and
Okay.
they were forced to put themselves into ships with everything they had, and they started pillaging everything through the way. If it is true or not, I don't know. What we know from the records of the environment is that you see a lot of catastrophes adding up at the same period, right? All the way to Troy. You see that this civilizations are being burned and devastated, and nothing is left behind. The only ones that repelled them were the Egyptians. So, because the rest, they were successful in all other parts. Well, what caused it? You have that huge volcano that you mentioned.
Yeah, Thera. Because I think that's even what basically, because I know it was a lot of Minoan structures and stuff I think are underwater.
Yeah.
No, and I think they attribute it to that and the earthquakes and other geological aftershocks from that.
Yeah. And another thing is changes of power, is the fact that iron was becoming more and more popular, although iron was already long known, but copper was very accessible. So I see it. Imagine I often give this example. In my first and second year, I was in computers and in school. I had a discipline about computers and so on and so forth. And it's at a time where we're still using diskettes, right?
Mm-hmm.
But CDs have been invented for at least a year. So, but what happens is, because there are warehouses filled with diskettes, they do not release the CD because they want to sell all of the diskettes. So only when they go beneath the threshold of already making the profit, then they start supplying everything with CDs and selling the CDs in mass. Right? In here is the same thing. Iron was already known, but you had control of the metallurgy of the world through copper, through those that have the secret with where the metallic copper was and bringing it in huge quantities that can be then diluted and make less pure or whatever, and make a lot of more with it. When it was no longer profitable, or the powers change and the powers would choose iron, you stop going for that. But there's also indications that something happened in the United States too. So because you also see the camps stopping, you see no more. It's like abandoned. The pits are abandoned. Everything is abandoned. Sometimes with copper still in them. It's float copper. And so why did that happen? We don't know. Why the Americas stopped? Probably because if they stop wanting it here, they stop going there seasonally and getting it, right? So
yeah,
and the few indigenous peoples or tribes that were involved in this process, either in the transportation into canoes or some kind of supplies for these people that go there to mine seasonally, they lost their jobs because they're not going. So they had no interest in the copper beyond ceremonial use and some tools. So it just ceased. Everything stopped at the same time. So
Hugh Randall Carlson.
Exactly. Oh, he's coming into the show too? You have him waiting?
Oh, man, I wish. No, you're the one and only best guest this week, Ricardo.
No. Don't say that. The other guest.
Yeah, no. So I was actually thinking about that too, because like we were mentioning, like with the say the Aztecs were pushed out of the States because they were too brutal and stuff like that. Maybe the tribes that were mining the copper at a commercial, basically an industrial size industry, we'll say, because I'm very terrible at talking. wonder if they were either killed off or moved out around the same time, or like you said, they ran out of the work and they always started trading just smaller locally with other natives across the Midwest and the South. So that would actually, I never really thought about it that way, the running out of work.
Because the trade continue in all other goods, right? The trade continue. You have sites in like Cahokia. You have another site in Canada where things were traveling 6,000 miles to get there. So one of the things that Rick keeps pointing on is the canoes that met the first discoveries, the first European explorers in the Gulf of Mexico were almost twice as long as his ship. So this was enormous canoes that could carry from the South America to North America through the Gulf without problem. They would just cross it filled with goods, right? It's like Sarah and Jacqueline say from the Universe Unveiled is we had boats.
Yep.
Right? It continue to say that we came from a narrow stretch of land where you cannot produce any food at all, right? And it's thousands of miles long. People would starve in the way. What they were eating, what they were hunting. There was nothing there. It's just an opening in the ice. Isn't it much easier to come with boats through the coast and just keep going?
Catching fish along the way?
So it makes very little sense. I'm not saying that nobody came from that strait. I'm just saying that that strait would be much harder to do than coming with canoes through the coast.
Yep.
Right? And you can get an experienced boy of 11 years old, giving him an inflatable boat, and you can go through the coast from beach to beach without any danger. Right? It doesn't require genius to think about that, right? So they want us to believe that people got to the edge of the sea and said, "Oh, okay, there is a barrier here. We cannot cross." Right? When you have Neanderthals going more than 100 miles and colonizing islands in the Mediterranean, Neanderthals, 160,000 years old.
Which we've always been told in my whole life is just like bumbling, like the generic caveman, when they were way more sophisticated than we were ever told. And they're releasing more and more information on that all the time. It was probably known about 60 years ago, but they didn't want to let anyone know.
Okay, let's imagine that this talk from what is his name? What is his name?
What's the talk about? Maybe it'll help.
I'm trying to this individual that does the daily news. It's Ben something. He has a very popular YouTube channel. He talks a lot about the sun.
Yeah. Suspicious observers.
Suspicious observers.
Yeah.
If he is right, let's think. If he is right, and we'll have this big problem, right? And we know we had these problems many times, but if we have this problem for different reasons, perhaps, but the same kind of problem, right? What will they find in 10,000 years? They will look at us and say, "Oh, they live in caves," because that's the only thing that's going to survive. Is the remains of people that going back to caves, because that's the only place where you can find shelter. It's like you have 1,000 underground cities in Cappadocia, in Turkey. What for? These people were living during the day underground and coming out only at night. It's not for defensive purposes, because anyone who wants to attack rolls the goddamn door and kills everybody. And if he doesn't want to give that trouble, just put fire into the chimneys and they all suffocate down there.
Yeah.
And the chimneys are completely visible. They are not hidden.
Yep. You were talking about that with Shaman the other day. I never really thought about that. I mean, you could see the chimneys. It's not for hiding. Yeah, that makes sense.
It's not a defensive structure, because the doors roll. They were like the stones of a mill.
Yeah.
They roll them into position, right?
They're in Kuyu.
So there's no way to secure them. So anyone who comes to enter puts a pole through the hole in the middle of the stone and just put it aside. It's not difficult. An animal wouldn't be able to do that. So it's completely safe against animals, because you don't want to have a lion inside of an underground city in narrow
Right.
passages, right? You don't want that. So you put a very heavy stone in the doorway so you can be safe. So there's one of those doors. See,
Yep.
you see the hole in the middle and the pole. Anyone can open that door. An animal can't, but let alone an army.
Yeah, it's like, well, we just take the pole out. Okay, then the army upstairs is going to grab another pole and suck it in.
Oh yeah, if they take the pole out, it's impossible. That there's no other key to put in. You're right.
Right.
Yeah, they can't open it. So, and but
Yeah.
there's lots of this. If you see the episode I had with in the Occult Rejects, and we talked, yeah, for sure, Pagan Christian.
Absolutely.
The talk we had about Ganung Padang, probably last year, with an archaeologist. He was about to go into a new project in Indonesia, where they found a gigantic harbor that predates the Ice Age.
Okay.
It's a gigantic harbor, and they know it predates the Ice Age because it's like 60 feet underwater. It was only underwater a long time ago. And it is a harbor. So these people have already highly sophisticated seafaring 15, 16,000 years ago. It's nothing new. It's just something I think that pestilence, wars, people eventually got concentrated on their own territory. The seas become more and more obscure because the secrets of navigation were hidden, and you could go via canoe and go around the world if you have coast to that, but you don't dare to cross the Atlantic with little technology or any knowledge in navigation, right?
Right.
And
Yeah.
the arguments of the academics is, oh, you cannot calculate, you can calculate latitude, but you can't calculate longitude without the astrolabe or the modern instruments that were invented in the 16th century, which is a lie, because Rick Osmond talked about this in the Roundtable Chronicles. They still teach in the Navy the use of chains. And so through the use of chains and looking into the sky and looking at the moon, you can calculate pretty accurate longitude. You don't need astrolabes. That's just another encoding of information to discourage others. Right? So, and now we are. I just got a new email from Vince Barrows. He's now looking into silk cocoons found in the middle of the United States. And the silk cocoons are more or less in the thresholds that they could be predating the Columbus, right? Which much probably they were, because silk was a secret well hidden by the Chinese, right?
Yep.
And we know that Chinese went to the Americas. There's so many individual evidence for that are just denied.
Yeah, it really appears so. We had Vince on a couple of weeks ago, actually.
Yeah. So
anyone that hasn't seen that yet, go check it out.
Yeah, please do. He's a treasure. And these silkworm cocoons, if they predate, if we manage to test them and they predate Columbus, it's only the Chinese. No one else had knowledge that we know of Chinese silkworms, because they kept it a secret for so long. And so in the last email, and it's happening again, he's saying that unfortunately they are now separating the provenance from these cocoons and saying they are not sure. So everything, it's like the same thing that happened with Mount Pisgah and the testing done, where they hide the results because they didn't want to be older.
Mm-hmm.
Then they deny the second testing of different species, and now we're trying the cocoons, and they are already starting with the excuses for them not to be tested, because they know it will predate and will. Okay, we have to admit that the Chinese were here.
Yep,
What
that's
are they
also
doing? That China says, "Oh, after all, Americans all out because that's Chinese after all." It's ridiculous.
Yeah, that I'm wondering if that would open up a can of worms that we wouldn't want. Like China be like, oh, well, I mean,
we're there first.
We were here first. Yeah, exactly. So would they, as being our good
Trump
friends
can
that they
always
are.
say, "That's why you have Chinatown." Okay.
Yeah. We also have an American with a firearm behind every blade of grass. So good luck, China.
Well, I don't know if you're probably too young, but there's lots of movies with China invading the United States. It isn't to be the Russians, it was the Chinese. The Russians came after.
Yeah, see, the earliest one that I can remember myself would have been Russia and Cuba, and that was Red Dawn. And I think the remake of the Red Dawn, did they do China or did they do North Korea? Which it was a very bad remake. Red Dawn.
Oh, I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it was Korea.
Okay. No.
China number one.
He also says, whenever I hear clones say we've mapped and studied all coastal areas, it just confirms the decline in academia. Yeah, I agree. I mean, have they gone 400 feet where the water would have been 400 feet lower the last ice age? Or are they just mapping around where they want to build their tiki bar?
Well, we cannot forget that around 1000 BC, China was producing ships that the West doesn't want to recognize, but they were building ships the size of tourist boats these days. Those big cruise ships. That's how big were the Chinese main boats. So, and then you had smaller boats, and then you have to serve the big ones, and then you have smaller boats to serve the middle ones, and those third boats were still bigger than the Portuguese caravels. So, and they were called the treasure ships, and they sailed all around Africa, probably into the Americas, and then it stopped at the end of that dynasty. Yeah, this is the second one. So the first ones were even bigger than this ones. So this is the second vague, and this is around 1300s. And that's when they did the treasure ships again. And it's the reason why the Portuguese were so well received when they were trying to find India, because they thought it was the Chinese with offerings. They still had the memories from 2 generations. But the size, just look at the size.
It's unbelievable. Yeah, I think that's the Santa Maria that it's next to.
Yep.
So,
which was Columbus's flagship.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable.
It's like there's a monster in the sea. Run away! Run away!
Yeah, I mean, just looking at that, it is. I mean, this is probably the size of my house up here. This little, like the captain's chambers. It's probably the size of my house.
Just a coastal ship up and down China. That's all they did.
Yeah. They only maybe touched the tip of India. Yeah. No, that's unbelievable. Oh, just missed something. What academia is covering up inconvenient information? Never. Oh, what academia is covering up inconvenient information? Never.
No.
Yeah, exactly. Sal says it was North Korea for the Red Dawn.
It is a problem because while we are somewhat putting down academics, it's not necessarily their fault, right? Because we don't know what we don't know,
right?
And unfortunately, there is a lot of things that they don't know because it's not taught to them, right? And if you grow in a system that educates you and say, oh, you might hear this, but it's a complete fallacy. There is no evidence for this because of this and this. And you accept it. and you never go and look it for yourself.
Mm-hmm.
So it becomes a belief. It's an innocent one, but it becomes a dogma on itself because it's a system building on top of a system.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So,
and then, oh, sorry.
No, go ahead.
I was gonna say, then they, then if you put yourself in, like, say, the mainstream academics' shoes, like, you say you go to school, you do all your years of research, 40 some years at a college or university, and you retire, and you find out that everything you've been teaching or learning the last 50 years was wrong. You think they're gonna let that happen? No.
Well, it is the scientific method
Right.
to
But
constantly looking for evidence that contradict what you find, right?
Mhm.
So, for instance, there are situations where this has happened again and again by accident, because while they keep making experiments that will confirm what they already know, that's what they're good at, they are getting results that don't fit with what is accepted, especially in astrophysics. The new instruments that we have in space have revealed data that is completely incompatible with our notion of physics,
Mhm.
right? Of how the universe was created, of the scale of years and how things progressed. It's completely upside down, and you don't see anyone saying, "Oh, we're wrong," right? While the
Yeah.
data right? You see in the it contradicts somewhat what we're seeing, but it might be either defect on the sensors, or we just have to reevaluate how we categorize reality. But it's never beyond that. It's never talked and explored. It's just a footnote on some news, scientific
Mhm.
journal news, right? So if you're not looking for the papers, you never find this kind of data. But it has contradicted everything. They found galaxies older than the beginning of the universe, not to speak about quasars and so on and so forth. Right? So because the fact that things work, it doesn't mean that we got it right. It
True.
just means that we found a way where they work, right? But they are based in things that we don't understand, like gravity, for instance. No one knows what it is, right? It's a weak force and yet has a very strong effect, right? So, and it's like Rupert Sheldrake points out in his book in presentation that actually was banned by TED. Um, that is, all science is built on top of assumptions, and that science is correct, but it's only correct if the assumptions that are beneath it are correct, right? The fact that 2 and 2 means 4 is correct, but what led you to think that there was 2 plus 2 might not be. You understand what I'm saying?
Mhm.
So, and that it's the very basis of science that are like a castle of sand, and they are trying constantly to keep it together so it doesn't crash, because otherwise they have to reformulate the whole concept of history, of science, of physics, of everything.
Mhm.
Instead of contradicted and saying, okay, we need a new model, which some academics are working on, but nobody talks about them. What
Yeah.
continues to be on books is, and you know for this for sure, how
Oh,
many
yeah.
things were you taught on your school books that were no longer a reality?
Quite a bit.
Because it takes a lot of time for them to
Mhm.
change, and you are still learning erroneous things. Like, for instance, the simple map of the world that we are presented has nothing to do with reality. The world map that you see is
Mhm.
not the world map because it was made to put everything that is not white small. Africa contains most of the countries of the world inside of it, for instance, and you don't see that. If you look for Peter's projection map, you'll see the real map of the Earth, and it's very different from the map that we get from Mercator, based on Mercator, because Africa is enormous, and
Oh,
it's
yeah.
almost the same size of America in the normal map,
Mhm.
and
No,
it's not.
globes are the best.
Yeah,
You can
it,
use
it fits
anything.
in Australia, America, China, all of Europe, all of that fits inside of Africa.
Oh, yeah.
So it's just gigantic.
It's big. Mogwai guy coming in hot with a $10. Dude, thank you. I appreciate it, man. He says, hey, congrats on your channel's growing success. I love whenever Ricardo speaks, I feel like we always learn something new. Keep up the great work, fellas. Dude, that means a lot. Thank you, man. I appreciate that. And I'm the same way with Ricardo. I mean, anytime we'll talk about the same topic more than once, and I'll learn something new every time. So thank you.
Well, that's a very kind way to say that I'm repeating myself.
No, you're just driving a point home and adding new stuff to it. It's unbelievable. I enjoy it. No, don't think that way. Oh, we got Ralph coming in. Hello, no sound and buffering. Is he messing with us? I checked it over here. It sounds all right. I don't know.
Is anybody else having the same problem?
Yeah, let me know if there's anyone else having the issues. Thanks for being here, Ralph. Should be having him on next week, along with Mogwai guy, if they can both make it. We'll get into that later on. Pagan Christian says, I like Rupert's questioning of physical constants. They were constant before the Big Bang and inflation.
Maybe he's saying you're not having issues with sound or buffering.
I don't know.
Who knows? Maybe. They'll say it sounds good.
Okay.
Rupert's that's a Ricardo side of things. If you wanted to touch on anything with Rupert's physical constants.
No, the thing that has been on my mind that most people will think it's insignificant, when probably is with this Artemis mission around the moon, right? I had the wrong concept that when you jump out of the planet, it's like jumping out of a moving car, because the planet is moving at a tremendous speed, right? And people kept saying to me, no, because it's all in the same system. And I said, that explanation doesn't work. It doesn't work. And so I had to look into it, and I found out that when they say the same system, what they mean is we are all moving at a great speed. And when you exit the planet, there is no air to take that speed off of you. So you retain the speed, the forward speed of the planet when you jump out of it. You keep moving forward, right? Although you are moving to the sides to capture the moon in this case, right?
Yep.
And that helped me on one concept that I've been developing. Finding out that it's one of the worst conceptions that we have about reality is orbits. There is not one single orbit in our solar system. Nothing is orbiting nothing, absolutely nothing, because it's a spring. Everything is following the sun. The sun is tugging us at tremendous speed, several hundred kilometers per second, and the planets are all going behind it. So if you stretch the line of the planets going behind the moon and you see them all, you won't even see beyond one line. It's just one line without any waves. It's so narrow behind the sun because of the length of it that there isn't even any line around it, right? It's only when you compress it and you start seeing that Mercury has a small, imagine a spring of the car. You seeing what?
Okay, I see what you're saying, yeah.
Right? Imagine a spring. So it will have a small one, and then Venus will have a larger one, and then the Earth would have a larger one, and so on and so forth. But everything is being pulled in an helix shape around the sun. We don't orbit the sun ever, because the sun is way ahead 8 minutes light ahead of us. That's how much the light, the time that the light of the sun takes to reach the Earth. 8 minutes. So we are 8 minutes light of the sun, behind it, right? So we are not going around anything because the sun isn't there. It's just the gravity is pulling us on that circle. So it's a helix of all the planets following. We are not orbiting anything. And we have that. I'm sorry to begin this, but this to me is...
Oh, you're good.
Someday I will make sense of this, but it's something that has been somewhat obsessing me because it's a complete fallacy, how we think that the solar system works, right? And when they were saying that, I said, okay, the ship is only going at 40,000 kilometers an hour. How the hell is going to catch the Earth that is going at 200 kilometers per second? And that's the explanation of the system, because when it exits the Earth, it keeps going at the same 200 kilometers per second. It's just moving sideways, but it's still going up in the sense that it's still going in the same direction it was before. So we never get out exactly, or more or less, where the Earth was. And so those 40,000 kilometers an hour that the ship does is the speed above the speed of the Earth. And that's why it can catch it again. You're following my thought? Because it doesn't lose any of the speed of the Earth itself.
Mm-hmm.
And when it's coming back at 40,000 kilometers per second, faster than the Earth. And if they explain this to the public, we all understand it. But no, it's all part of the same system, and that's explained.
Yeah, they think we're dumb.
You're an idiot. You're an idiot. You don't understand any of this. And on this case, this ship was coming so fast because the normal speed is 20,000 kilometers an hour. This was coming at a double of the speed. And so they had to bounce it in the atmosphere to take the speed out. And they didn't know if it's going to work or if this is going to be expelled into space, because it's the first time they try to bounce the ship into the atmosphere to slow it down to half the speed. And then when it comes into the Earth again, it's when it goes all the way to the ocean. Because the first time they skimmed it on the atmosphere on purpose to take the speed, because the ship wouldn't last a few seconds coming at 40,000 kilometers an hour. They had to reduce that speed to half of it. And they did it by bouncing it in the atmosphere. So imagine these people on that ship, all on diapers, sitting on their own poop.
Build it up more.
The toilet's broken right at the beginning of the.
Yeah, that's right.
Millions of dollars for one toilet that broke down. Millions of dollars.
Yep.
So they were on diapers the whole journey. So,
man.
Imagine the smell inside that small capsule.
Just Febreze, just.
They should get a medal just for that.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, no. I mean, just leaving Earth in general. Yeah. That's enough of a medal for me. Just hold it in. No. Yeah, boy, we really jumped around a lot tonight. I like it. I like that.
One last thing.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
You mentioned it. If people want to learn about this ancient America, the best place that I can recommend is a series on Patreon called Lost America. Right? Exactly. And in this, you'll find the people that actually has the knowledge, the people that actually has the experience, the indigenous people, the oral traditions. What is the real information behind all the things they say it's false, planted? In here you hear all the data, and you can judge for yourself that all of this history of America has been a complete fallacy in terms of denying what the indigenous people were, what all of those people that came to Americas and are not recognized. You know that there are more than 10,000 tablets. They're all fake. They consider all of them to be fakes.
Oh, yeah. I was going to say, I thought you were saying they are. I'm like, I don't think they all are.
No, of course not.
Yeah.
Who is going to give the trouble? And most of these people that they say, oh, he was profiting from it. Where is the evidence that ever any money was asked for? Most of the pieces were granted to museums, to academics, and they say, we are not interested.
Mm-hmm.
And people were stuck with these pieces, right? Because they consider, look, in here, you see that quarry that I showed it in the map?
Mm-hmm.
So James Shears told me that a child, while they were playing in there many, many years ago, on those mounds, found a Norse sword. And they grabbed the sword and went to the archaeologist responsible for the area and gave him the sword. And he threw it into the dungeons of the museum because it was a fake. It couldn't be a sword because there were no Norse people in the Americas in this place.
Right.
So it has to be a fake. So when James went back there many years later and to the same guy and said, "Oh, I would like to see the sword." "Oh, I have no idea what it is." It was a complete fake. It was, I don't even know if you still have it.
I threw it in the trash. I knew right away.
Right. So
Dispose
that's what happens. And that's what happens. But again, Lost America on Patreon. I think in my X account, you'll still find episode 11 and 12 to watch in full. If you look in my feed,
okay,
or just look for Lost America. I know that it has been on X alone. It has 1.6 million views.
Oh wow,
if I'm not mistaken. Yes. So
you'll drop the chat in there for that's for the Patreon if you want to sign up for all the episodes. What is there? 10 on there right now. And you said 11 and 12 are on your.
And this were all done, filmed with a personal effort from the person behind all this. And I think he receives no praise, but he should. In fact, all the things that I'm being able to do here is thanks to him.
Yep.
There is Chris Finnifrock, so many thanks.
Good dude.
Been fantastic. I think you know him too.
Yep. Had the pleasure of meeting him, and we keep up now and then on X. Been a little while though, but no, I've been able to watch a few of these. Been trying to take time to be able to watch them, but the only time I can watch them is if I'm down here on my computer because I don't have access to Patreon anywhere else. And the first 2 episodes I watched, they're fantastic. I think I watched actually when you had a few of them on your X, I was able to catch those, and those were really good as well. So I enjoy it. You know, it's a look into the American heartland like we've never seen. You know, it's stuff that's not, like you said, not the mainstream. Everything is.
Yeah, but these are the people with the actual knowledge, right?
Exactly. Yeah, it's not just someone that studied it for years and read it in a book and talking about it. It's the people that lived it, experienced it.
I kept being told that oral tradition is very dangerous because it's like the telephone game, right? Mm-hmm. Every person that says it differently. Well, people that actually do oral tradition, this lady was trained 40 years training to learn the oral tradition. And she goes to the council of elders and gives the oral tradition back. You know why she flunked and had to continue to learn to do oral tradition? Because she had her breathings wrong.
Really?
Breathing at the wrong moment. You see the precision of oral tradition. It's just impressive. It has to be exactly the same. It's not telephone game. It's exactly the same letter and with the same intonation. You have even to breathe in the correct moment to tell the story. Otherwise, they will reject it.
But who's to say that? I mean, that could be one specific people, but I mean, there could be others who are like, yeah, it's close enough. Or one time in history, they're like, yeah, it's good enough.
Let me tell you one of the things that I learned recently about the tribes. Right? We are very accustomed to hear about Masons, Merovingians, Rosicrucians, Templars, and their lodges and their rituals. Where one of the things that I was not aware is the Indian tribes have exactly the same system with the same initiations. Well, different initiations, but with the same process of moving forward and so on and so forth. They are organized exactly in the same way. So this is not random. This oral traditions is something to them is sacred. There is no random speaking, unless you are a fake one and say, "Oh, I'm a keeper of the oral traditions," when you are not. Because if you are indeed a person that keeps the oral traditions of a tribe, you have to go through the trials and you have to do it precisely. The problem is people that heard the stories will then tell those stories differently, but the source is always the same. So it would be impossible for us to hear a story that lasts for 30 minutes and be able to reproduce it word for word. So, but they can. That's what they train to do. Everything from the intonation to the breathing, everything has to be exactly as it was when it was created. And that to me is impressive because it's not an easy thing to do.
Definitely not.
What happened to Jeff?
He took off somewhere.
He barely fits there for some reason. He's such a small guy.
Yeah. So if we have a 30-minute story, how much history would that cover, and would they add to it at all?
From my experience and what I've been talking to these native people and elders, absolutely nothing. Every comma, every point, every breathing, every intonation is always the same through the generations. It's kept exactly as it was when it was created.
It's still hard to fathom. Just wrapping your head around how like accurate they keep their stories.
40 years.
Yeah, when even you look at books nowadays, every second edition it's revised, third edition it's revised in one way or another.
The Bible, how many translations?
I was just to say the Bible, yeah. No.
So the most faithful thing is oral tradition in the end, right?
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
Because it's kept. It's as I was saying. If you listen to it and then you tell it, and another person go tell it, and so on and so forth, it's going to be losing aspects and gaining aspects all the time, right? But if you hear it from the source, it's always the same. So it's exactly as it was. Which is not subject to interpretation. It's just pure and simple acting and the reproduction of a script, word for word, with the correct intonation and the correct breathings, everything.
Huh. Yeah, that's something I got to do is look into like any like Anishinaabe stories, Ojibwe stories and stuff like in our local area here. I don't know. I mean, granted, I suppose I could talk to some people that might still have any of those stories, but I don't know where to start. And you look online, it's hard to find anything for a specific area. They always have the large, the Anishinaabe culture has this story. It's like, okay, well, I want the Ojibwe in our area. Because there's only like, what, 4 tribes, I think, in our local area? Yeah, I think there's 4 separate tribes or bands in our local area. So I assume they'd all have their own different legends and histories about different areas. I mean, I know an overarching one is Mishipeshu. I think I said it correct, is the like the horned cat panther, the lynx or whatever that protected the copper in Lake Superior. That's one of my favorite ones that I've heard so far about that one. Controlled the weather and the waves and storms and stuff like that.
Have a similar one on Spirit Lake that now they call Devil's Lake for some reason. It was a priest who decided that.
Imagine that.
Change the name from Spirit Lake to Devil's Lake. But in there, they have this tremendous war between the Thunderbirds and the Water Spirits, and the Thunderbirds won. And so, but the funny thing is, they would, after the battle is over, they would let everybody to collect their injured, to collect their dead. There was no aggression after the end of the battle. Just we won, so that's it. Because they say. Because these battles were like ceremonials. And so they would repeat it. And the next year, it might be the other side to win. So they respected always the ones that lose and let them freely collect their wounded and the dead and move away without harm in the mutual respect thing that I never saw in any battlefield.
Yeah. So it was like LARPing, but for real. No, I've never heard that. That's unbelievable. It's pretty cool.
And on Devil's Lake, there is this enormous linear mound that have not been tested yet. So I expect, and Jim is of the same opinion, it might be a huge burial of one of those battles where they buried all the the deceased from one side, all in that linear mound because it's enormous. You can see it from the parking lot.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah. As soon as you park the car, you get out, and you can walk through the linear mound, which is enormous.
Devil's Lake. Where is that near
Baraga? No.
No. Devil's Lake. Where was Devil's Lake?
It has a similar name. Let me think.
It's in Wisconsin, isn't it?
Yeah, it's 40 minutes from here. It's
okay. I thought it was down by the Dells. Okay, Devil's Lake. Okay, that's where the big the cliffs, the rocks on that cliffside.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's
okay. It is in Baraboo.
The buffalo stone. There is the standing stone. There is the frog stone.
Okay.
Lots of mounds, lots of effigies.
Yep.
Lots of indigenous activity in there.
Oh yeah, that's right where Man Mound is. I don't know if you've gone there yet. It's the largest like humanoid effigy left in America. And they put the highway right through the legs.
Yeah, they decided to cut the legs because making a turn.
Right.
Well, as an European, I was told all my life that the roads in America were smooth as silk and all straight. It's all straight and very wide. And I came here and I realized that the roads have exactly the same width. The cars are just bigger, but they have the same width. More lanes, perhaps, but the same width. And the roads are terrible, and there are no straight lines. Even in a road that could go straight, the road does this along the way. It's not, and it's like on the bridge, ta-tunt, 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 ta-tunt. And why don't they make the roads better in here? And they say because of the ice, because the ice goes and the land goes up and down. If they would have to keep asphalting this stuff. So the roads are the more rustic as possible. It's just considered to be proper for tires. It's not dirt road, but it's not much better than that. It's just cement strips, like rectangles of cement, and that's how they build the roads in here.
Yeah. I mean, the roads up by us, it was every 5 years they got to scrape it down and redo it because of the potholes and the frost heaves. It's worse up
2 years.
Yeah, it's worse up here than it is anywhere south of, say, Minocqua or Wausau, Wisconsin. Wausau would be the biggest next town over, but it's pretty bad. I don't know if Ricardo, you saw my picture of that copper that I found the other day. What do you think? Do you think it was naturally just float copper like that, or do you think it could have been a preform for a blade? Because
you think it's a fish?
Or it's a fish effigy type thing. I don't know. I think it might be a preform for a blade. Like they were going to use it to make a knife blade or something. I don't know.
So you think that one that is already worked? Is that what you're saying?
That's what my thoughts are. Yes, but I don't know. I had a guy in the comments say, "That looks like something for the scrap bucket." Dick.
You can make 5 more pennies out of that,
right? I don't know. I thought, and we found it in a football field in town by where we live, which is we're a long ways away from where any mine copper would have been. Not too far away, but
well, my parabola says it could be a balloon fish, but
yeah, I don't know because it almost looks like it does have a tail there. I don't know. It's kind of I don't know. Just wanted to bring that up.
The thing is, I have no understanding of how those species are found, right? So I don't know if they are all found with this kind of lots of shapes along the way, or they're strip and straight. I have no idea. All the pieces I've seen are very thin and with lots of like embroiling almost. So I don't know what point is worked and what point is natural. I have no idea.
Yeah, because I've seen pictures of preforms before, and someone, I think it was that Dylan, Dylan Violet that you guys had on with Vince about a month ago. He's doing work on he lives up in, I think, like northeast coast or something, but he tagged a few pictures of like different fish or animal effigies and pre-mades and stuff like that, and it looks like them, except those ones are a lot better shaped than this little chunkier. But I don't know.
That's a nice piece of float copper there.
I don't know if it is float. It's not very smooth like flow copper. Like it doesn't look like this. It's more rigid the whole way around versus the smooth and flat.
Yeah, but the smooth and flat, it might be exposed to something.
Could be. I don't know. I just dig up chunks
The pieces that I've seen are very rugged.
Yeah.
Small and rugged. That other piece that he's shown is huge. It almost looks like a bun.
It does almost, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's like they're rounded like that. I don't
Yeah.
know. Versus a chunk of copper that you find out of a vein. This was from mine.
Yeah, but that is ore, right? Or something like that.
No, that's metallic copper.
It's metallic copper too?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's probably weighs like 3 pounds.
Wow.
So I don't know. I just make my own assumptions and ask other people what they think. Let's see. Straight roads are dangerous. Yes.
You have the life documentary on Lee Pennington is also available on YouTube. If people want to look for it, it's a wonderful episode.
Oh yeah, Lee Pennington's. I like listening to him talk.
And you met him too, right?
Yep, a couple of times. Yeah. No, he's a really.
You look at him and you think, okay, this fellow is like a modern wizard, but you have no idea of the pedigree of the man. It's just unbelievable. It's just unbelievable. More than 100 countries, from writing pieces to theater, to writing music, to writing poetry.
Oh, it's poetry. Yeah. What do you have? Like over? Like, it was a lot of like published poetry.
And he's constantly gaining awards to this day with his poetry.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. No, he's. Like I said, I really enjoy listening to him speak.
Just incredible. And more incredible is we had I put him in contact with Jim Shears that he likes a lot. And he was saying to Jim, "It was you who taught me a lot. You taught me."
Yeah, 23 published books. I'll probably never publish a book in my life.
Why not? Finding Copper.
Maybe, yeah. Finding Copper. It'll just be a pamphlet that says, check out my YouTube. Hi, Trish. Good to see you. Thanks for being here. Speaking of books and Indian mounds that we were talking about earlier, I don't know if you're aware of this, but Dr. Greg Little's third edition of the Illustrated Encyclopedia of Native American Indian Mounds and Earthworks came out this past week.
How much is it?
I got my hands on a signed copy for, I think it was 60 or 80. Okay. Yeah, $79.95.
Have you seen how much costs the edition before this one?
$400 to $500.
$1,000.
The second edition?
$1,000 on Amazon.
This is staying in my room. I'm gonna put it in the safe.
It's on Amazon he's selling it by $1,000.
Wow. Yeah, so these are signed copies you can get if you want for $80. Otherwise, unsigned are $70.
Well, with no disrespect, and because I respect a lot his work, I think that it's a shame that he's so known, and he visits the sites and compiles current knowledge about these mounds into his books. And someone like Jim Shears that vasked this sites from inside out and everything in relation to it, since from indigenous knowledge and input to alignments to everything you can imagine, is not known. And I can tell you that he was offered the reports from Jim Shears, and he said, "I'm not interested."
Really? I was gonna say that could be, I mean, just the ones that he has in his book, make a whole page with different knowledge, or make a different one. You know,
he just says, "I'm not interested," because he's not interested. He just wants to put normal information in. It's a huge compilation. It's very
absolutely, yeah. No, I've
but he has no depth at all in terms of knowledge for each side. And to be honest, when I saw that he's selling his previous one on Amazon by $1,000, I was a bit further deceptioned by it, because it's like saying, oh, it's out of print. Yeah. So he orders 500 books or 1,000, right? That photo they had on X with lots of boxes with books. And then he signs them and he sells them. When that finished, it's out of print. So I can ask $1,000 for a book. Well, it's never out of print because it's in Amazon. Amazon is producing the books. It's never out of print.
This one is $5,000.
5,000. It's just absurd. I'm sorry.
Wow.
It's just absurd.
That's no. I mean, I'd recommend, I don't know if this is the first edition or second, but I'd recommend getting the new one, $60. And there's a lot of great information.
It's not someone trying to make that money. He's the one selling it.
Yeah. But I mean, hey, I suppose you can.
$5,000. Okay.
I'll sell mine for $4,000 if everyone's interested.
I would like a house in the Bahamas.
Yeah, exactly. Let's see, Richard Dullum, how's it going? I love the model treasure chip made from Vietnamese teak, 1426-27 made it to California, teak in the Sacramento River. Okay, yeah, that goes along with the when we were talking earlier.
Well, it was proven by the holy cow. Yeah,
yeah, absolutely, Tony.
It was. Yeah, you should.
It's
an amazing place. According to Michael Collins, it's an amazing place.
Yep. I would have never known about it if he didn't make his videos on it. So I gotta check it out.
Well,
what were you saying before there, Ricardo?
One of the things here is that ticks apparently are exceeding the levels never seen since 2017. So
I heard that. An
explosion of it. And the day that I was exploring further through the Arboretum, when I found this stone ways, I got home. I went to eat and so on, and when I was in bed, it's like, what is this? I felt something moist in my leg. What is this? And I go and see, and it had a tick on the back of my leg that I probably squashed as soon as she bit, because the head was completely inside my skin. Completely inside my skin. But apparently, as soon as she dug in, I scratched my leg and I squashed it completely, which was lucky.
Yeah, so no kidding.
I didn't have any allergies or any symptoms of anything like that. But I was like, okay.
Yeah, when I was down in Wisconsin, was that 2 weeks ago? That my video I just uploaded on Tuesday is about. I had the first tick of the season. It was crawling on my neck.
Whoa! So, it got all the way to your neck.
Yeah. Well, I was walking through tree branches and stuff, so I think it came off of that. But no, I wasn't. It was just a little guy. It might have been a deer tick, which is the bad ones.
Yeah, but the thing is, you see, in Portugal, we have ticks because they go to dogs, right, and cats. And so we have animals in the property, and we just find the ticks and take them out, right? But they never go on humans.
Yeah,
they don't go. It's very rare for them to go for a human. They go for animals.
Yeah, they crawl all over us here. And the carry diseases that were invented by the government.
You go with your dog through the fields, and at the end of the day, the dog has 4 or 5. You have to take them out, but you have none. They don't grab to people. I don't understand what's wrong with ticks in here. Deciding to grab onto people. But
they're American. Michael Cremo has a new book that I'll get Saturday. I forgot about it, but there's some nuggets. I forgot that Michael Cremo came out with a new book. Yeah, a friend of the channel that we had on. Yeah, very friend of ours. He helped launch the book. He's been working with Michael Cremo on some stuff. Jared from ArchaeoX that we had. It was the first guest I had on the show, actually. So did their book launch. I forgot about that. I'll have to get that book. Yeah, Michael Cremo is he's a gem too.
Yeah, he is a good author.
Mm-hmm. Forbidden Archaeology is like that thick. Yeah. It's a tough read. A lot of references and dates and footnotes. It's
all false. All false. Everything is false on that book. Just they have an explanation for every single item he presents there.
Yeah. 50,000-year-old mammoth tusks with chop marks and slice marks, and it's just glaciers did it.
Well, you talk about that, but they found 60,000-year-olds in Canada.
Okay.
It was denied when it was found, and now with the use of better microscope, they came to understanding that it was actually done by humans. So you have a site there with 60,000 years old.
Damn.
They're already using the butchering the mammoths and using the knives and even etching on the tusks, which they were saying is impossible.
Right. Yeah.
Oh, Pagan, but yours will be your fit, Pagan. Okay, yours will be your fit. So.
Tick magnet, yeah. Tick with a T.
Mm-hmm.
So, Ricardo, I got one more question for you before we start wrapping things up here. Are you going to the Ancient Artifact Preservation Society conference in October?
I hope so.
All right. So I got a shill for that. The local conference. This is actually this will be on the back page of the next issue of Ancient America magazine. If I can get it to zoom a little bit. Oh, that worked, right? So we got Lee Pennington, Jay Wakefield, Keith Sealand, Richard Thornton, not familiar with him, George Ferre, George Ferre, Mayor Hagag, no idea, Jill Baker, Carl Henke, Wayne May, Lon Krieger, Dwayne Kinnert, and the 66 speakers, F.K. Sterling, Jeff UPNorth, Sue Belanger, and Dr. Fred Henke. I'm making a presentation.
But you have a presentation in 60 minutes, right?
It'd be a 10-minute. Just a 10-minute presentation, short one. Yeah. I'm not ready for a full hour. I'm not ready for a full hour yet. So I wanted to bring that up.
Congratulations.
Yeah, I'll definitely be bouncing some ideas off of you. So we'll talk about that at a later time, just because you write articles and stuff like that and research papers, and I just talk into a microphone.
Is Jill from AAPS?
Jill Baker?
The lady with the clock.
Oh, no, that's Judy.
Okay.
Yeah, Judy's the main one. Yeah.
That name is familiar, Jill Baker. I don't know why.
I know. I don't think she was there last year.
Did they change? Did they already change Did they change the fact that you have to be a member to buy a ticket?
Not that I know of. Hopefully be a meeting soon. I'll bring up some issue or some things about that. Bring that to light.
Yeah, because I think that's discouraging a lot of people.
Yeah, because they
include the price. Include the price of the membership on the ticket.
Mm-hmm.
Because you press the price of the ticket, and then it says now you have to become a member. It's another $25.
Yeah, no, it should be in.
Just
it should all be in one. Yep. Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Just even if you want to just raise the price of the ticket itself, just the $25, whatever. Yeah.
And include it.
So yeah, that'll be a good time. That is the first weekend in October in Harris, Michigan, closest a few miles from Escanaba.
Yeah, and Michigan. The museum will be open. Let me see.
Oh, they are. I haven't heard anything about it, so I don't know what's going on with the museum in Baraga.
I can tell you.
Awesome. Been looking forward to that.
Let me just look for the email from Jay Wakefield.
Okay. I'll see what's going on here, Tony. You guys were talking about Washington still. Okay. Man, I can't imagine being a lumberjack in the mountains. All right. Well, you're looking that up. I spent a little money the other day for some fun. Here.
Wow, what is that?
Yeah.
Oh, it's a 3D puzzle. Yeah.
It's Lego. So I got that the other day. I can't remember I was watching someone's stream and they had it in the background, and I said I didn't know they made that. So I figured I could fork out the cash and get it. It even has I don't know if you can see that, the light, but it has the inner chambers. So
Fantastic.
yeah, debating on maybe I'll do a stream of me putting it together if anyone's interested in that.
Oh, that's gonna be more than one stream.
You don't know that. I don't go by the numbered bags. I put them on a big pile and go from there. So if anyone thinks that'd be something they'd be interested in watching me just hanging out, building Lego pyramid,
Okay,
let me know. Maybe I'll make it a members only thing.
Yeah, the completion of the museum is set to the September the 27th.
Okay.
The completion, and so I think they'll open it in October after the conference, right after the conference. Yes.
Yeah, I've been interested in looking at that. So
it's huge.
Yeah,
it's huge now, and it's going to be all covered in copper on that one of the blocks that comes out of the building.
Okay. Yeah, we'll have to keep an eye on that.
Yeah.
You know
that they are still trying to take the museum down.
I every now and then I look it up to see if there's any news on it, and I haven't seen anything publicly like that people are making a fit too much. I follow the ancient waterways and stuff like that of the Midwest, because that's the first place that they had talked about the faux and fraudulent archaeology. Then I also follow the fraudulent archaeology that Flint Dibble runs, and they haven't said anything about it there in a while. So,
well, we're trying to have Flint Dibble, because Rick Osmond would like to have a talk with him. Let's see if he.
That'd be interesting. Absolutely. I gotta reach out to Rick myself.
He thinks he was unfair, his presence on Joe Rogan. Well, we'll try to make it as fair as possible.
Absolutely, yeah.
Well, it's just that Rick Osmond is not Graham Hancock, because Graham Hancock is not an historian. He's
right. He's a journalist. He's an investigative journalist, and he's reiterated that over and over.
Very educated in the things that he wrote about.
Exactly.
But in fact of the details and all of these things that these people know on this side, whole life looking into it, it's a completely different scenario. So it won't be just something that tells you go and look in here and you'll find out. No, Rick Osmond will be able to tell dates, names, who, what, when, and where that material is stored, and so on and so forth. So it's a different animal. Let's put it this way.
Yeah. No. I'd watch the hell out of that. I'd have to stay silent in the comments or watch it the pre-recorded, but Karen, yeah, I dropped a few gifties in there for all you good fine folks out there. I hit Debbie too. She popped in the chat, said hi, and just sniped her with the gifty. Got Karen. What else did I get? The Psychotic, Mike Mo, Mark Lester. Oh, nice. I got Mark Lorseth. He's from up here. What was that?
The new feature from YouTube. You can gift subscriptions, memberships.
Yeah, you can. So with the monetization, you can buy memberships for people, and I guess I can give some out. It's like a promotion.
Oh, but it costs money to you too?
It doesn't. I get like 5 or 10 a month, and my month is just about up, so I had to use them up.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So spread the good word to the good people out there. I got to start putting something together for memberships, different videos and stuff. I got a few ideas, so I should get that up sooner than later.
Okay. Does your boss know that you are going to stop working with wood? Now they don't need him?
Trust me, I'll be doing that probably the rest of my life still. Because I do enjoy it. I do enjoy building houses and the carpentry and stuff. So and this will be a side job if it ever comes to fruition of making money on it. Right now, it's just if you want to donate, become a membership, I appreciate it. I'm not going to ask you to.
Your first year?
What's that?
It's still your first year.
I just had the first year on the 18th for my first upload.
It's going very well. I think your channel is going very well.
Yeah, I didn't expect to be here in a year. Not a chance.
Who knows in 2 or 3 years where you are? So
yeah, we got to get you.
Quite unique. There's no one else doing that kind of stuff that you do. So
yeah, and that's half the reason I started the channel is because I searched everywhere for more information on like any different theories of the old copper culture, anything about Michigan's Upper Peninsula, and there's only like a handful of books and articles online, and nothing mentioned of the other theories other than saying you're all a bunch of racists and Yahtzees and stuff. So
racists? No, there's no racists.
Yeah. Right? Yeah, I got a Portuguese man on my show. I'm not racist. So I need emoji stickers. Yeah, I have to figure something out. I'm a fan. Thanks, Trish. I appreciate it. Mogwai, appreciate you guys. No, thank you. Well, I'm a little bit over than I expected, but that's all right. Ricardo, is there anything else you wanted to plug on your end for channels and
go and look for at the Institute for Natural Philosophy.org. Go and look for our latest issue of the Pharos magazine. It's free. Are you pulling it up? Just to know if we continue.
Yep. I was trying to get it copied in.
We are starting soon. In a few days, we'll start the production of the next issue. It's on top to the right.
Okay.
There, Pharos.
Oh, went right by it. Right there. You can read it online here. Drop the link in the chat.
Yeah. Just move a few pages so people know that. So we do it as high quality as possible. Our editorial team is just amazing. It's led by Jeff van der Loot from the Netherlands. So if anybody is interested in writing an article or anything, just do contact us. All the links are available. So this magazine inclusively now we have we can include video that will on the magazine. The links are all live. If you go to any of those,
right there,
you see that you go directly to the places. If anyone wants to advertise anything, if you are a book author, we don't charge normally. Only if it's merchandise or something like that. So do reach out if you have any interest. And we are going to very soon, perhaps in 2 months, be able to have this physically for a decent price. So thank you, Anthony.
That'd be awesome.
A very decent price, because I don't know if you remember, but for the printer that we have previously asked for us between $80 to $120 a magazine to print.
Jeez.
Because we were pushing too much quality. So
I was gonna say the pages are beautiful.
Okay, let's forget the printing for now. But now we found one where we can sell the magazine with little profit, but I think we can put it between $17 to $20, depending on the negotiation prices that we'll get.
No, this is a quarterly, correct? Or is it well, what are you trying to?
For now, we're trying to make 4 or 5 a year.
Okay.
But as soon as we have as soon as we can pay the team that creates the magazine, they are all ready to start working full time just on the magazine.
Okay.
So, and then we can produce once a month. That's the purpose initially, but we thought that we couldn't get it because people still have their families and their works, and they all do this for art. So you have the magazine, you have the channels of the Institute for Natural Philosophy that are Universe Unveiled on YouTube and X and all the other variants. They are everywhere, even in audio format. Not everywhere, but just on YouTube, you have the Shaman and the Philosopher and Chronicles of the Round Table.
Yep, so, that's Roundtable Chronicles here on the Institute for Natural Philosophy.
Yeah. And The Shaman and the Philosopher is in a very small channel because since I came here, I lost the password to put the videos.
Oh
no! And so I've been putting them on the Institute. Aside from that, we have what do you have? Well, you have my 2 books. So the Resonant Earth and the Stardust that are both on Amazon by a ridiculous low price. So if anyone is interested, it always helps. Although it sells very little, but it always helps something. So
yeah.
And I advise to buy the hard book, the hard cover, not because it's more expensive, but because the soft covers that I ordered to my family, they are all came with loose pages.
Oh, no kidding.
No, if it's just that batch, but the hard covers that I've seen are good. That doesn't happen. So, and I'm going to change the publisher. I'm going to move to Aeon Publishing. Which is also affiliated with the Institute, is the one publishing the multiverse books, the Aaron novel and the Abraxian visual guide are already available. It's already from the Aeon publisher, which is from
there we go.
Steve and Michael. Yeah, that's mine.
On Resonant Earth there. I was trying to find it, I couldn't figure it out. Yeah, go check it out.
So I make about $3 to $4 on each book. So I put the price as low as possible. Although everybody said put 30, we'll sell more. Maybe I did. Maybe people think, oh, it's so cheap, it's rubbish.
Well, they're selling it or you renting it on Kindle for $0.
Yeah, you can.
Don't rent it on Kindle. Don't buy it on Kindle. Go buy the paperback. No, buy the hardcover. Right there, $21.99. Come on.
Yeah.
You can skip Dairy Queen this week. Get that hardcover.
Yeah. Well.
Yeah, I'll put all these links in the description afterwards. You can find everything down there, hopefully.
This is dedicated to megalithic culture and their technology.
Okay.
And the other one is more like history of science, animism versus monotheism, uniformitarianism versus catastrophism, consciousness. It's more about like history of science and consciousness. It's a completely different subject.
Okay.
But it's a smaller book too.
I'll have to get these. I completely forgot that you wrote books. I am sorry.
What?
I said I completely forgot you had these books. I apologize. I need to get them.
I'm starting to work on volume 2 of the Resonant Earth.
Okay.
But this time I'm going to make volume 2 all about the sites where the testing has been done and academics were there and what they found and what. So people see that the technologies that I speak in this one, they do exist and they were found by academics. It's not just woo-woo. There's no woo-woo in it. It's actual science. So, and it's, in fact, we are using, and you will see in this book, in the appendix, we are trying to replicate these technologies today on lab. So the long distance communication, the teleportation, the storage of information in crystal, we are trying to do all that these sites had 7, 8, 10,000 years ago. So,
yeah, awesome. Go check it out.
And thank you for allowing me to plug all that in. So.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Thanks for coming back on. I know you're a busy guy down there in Wisconsin. So you're gonna.
You also give me almost a month, so I had time to
yeah, whole 3 days, 4 days.
It was yesterday. Okay.
Was it yesterday? I couldn't remember what day it was. Every day just melds into itself right now. I don't know
What day is this?
I think it's Thursday.
Yes, it is.
Andy, is it Thursday?
Today is Thursday, yes.
All right. So, okay.
Time flies.
Crazy. Andy.
Yes.
People find you. What do you have coming up?
Nothing as important as Ricardo stuff. We got the DrinkUP show tomorrow at 7:30 Central. We're gonna eat supposedly
7
the world's sourest. Is it 7?
Always 7 o'clock for the last year and 2 weeks.
See what I'm saying? Time flies. We're gonna attempt to eat the world's sourest candy, possibly, maybe, I don't know. And then Saturday, we're unfortunately not going to the convention. We'll be in Minneapolis for Electric Cowboy concert. So that is what we got coming up.
Electric Cowboy. Never heard that.
Yeah.
They're like metal, but it's like a German
techno metal. Yeah.
Oh, you're gonna watch the Nazis. Okay.
No. There's still good Germans out there.
Yeah.
Last day of April. Yeah, there's that. And as for me, I uploaded a new video on my channel on Tuesday where it's called LiDAR, because we went metal detecting at a point in central Wisconsin in a friend's field, there's family's field, and what we thought were a bunch of mounds and mound complexes and stuff like that. We were gonna check the area out. We weren't gonna go into the mounds, but we got down there and it was just farmers' rock piles. So that's what it's kind of about. It's about our trip down there and explaining how not everything you see on the USGS LiDAR is what it seems. It's always good to have, if you have someone in the area, to check it out before you waste your time and money to get down there to where you're going. But overall, it was a fun time. So I'd appreciate it if you would.
Big view in the middle of the field.
Yeah. But no, I'd appreciate it if you guys went and checked that out. Anyone that is interested in it. And I got a bunch of stuff I'm working on. We'll see which ones I put out next. So with that being said, I want to thank everyone for joining us tonight. Thank you again, Ricardo, for excuse me, for coming on pretty much last minute. Andy, thanks for being the co-host as always.
Isaac, for showing up. All I did was sit here and listen to Ricardo. I'm like, I got notes. I have things I got to do.
That's all right. I didn't give you a whole lot of little time coming down with guests. So, but next week we should have Ralph R. Snyder. He saw him in the chat here earlier, and hopefully we can get Mogwai guy in here too, talking about flint knapping and stone tools that either they found or they made themselves. So it's gonna be
it's a topic.
Yeah. Absolutely. So it's a topic that I've never really looked into a whole lot. So I figured I'd take the two people that I know that know a lot about it, have them come on and join us. So
and it looks very simple to do until you try to do it.
Because it didn't look simple when I watched people do it.
I cannot. But it takes a lot of time to learn.
So, yeah.
Well, thank you for having me once more. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you. Thanks for coming on. Yeah, thanks Mogwai again for dropping a 10 spot there. Appreciate you, man. Thanks for all the members that we've had. So we got some new members that dropped in there tonight. So thank you all very much. If you want to see us again, check us out on DrinkUP Friday. If you don't care for a couple of idiots talking in front of the camera, don't watch. But sorry.
I've been saying to Jason, this is the radio of the future. It's radio with image. Mm-hmm. So it can be anything. It could be a talk between friends. It could be almost like a phone call. It can be so many things. It doesn't have to be always about data and data and data. It can be just because that's what people do on radio. Right, and then radio. You put that channel and whatever the guy says, to whatever you listen to.
Yeah, the local station. They don't even talk about the news. They just talk about what they did over the weekend, pretty much. Yeah, sure.
So it's and keep in mind that it had an increase of 60% of views on television.
Mm-hmm.
YouTube have the biggest rise, and that's why they're changing some of the rules and some of the settings, because more and more people are watching this on the television instead of television broadcast. They are watching YouTube, right? So something to keep in mind, because it's the channels of the future are the podcasters.
100%. I mean, they're getting even what is it? The awards shows are on YouTube now. They're not on CBS or NBC or whatever. They're streaming them on YouTube. Some even some TV shows like the abysmal Starfleet Academy. That the first episode or two was streamed on YouTube before they released it on Paramount Plus.
Yeah, because they knew it was that bad. So
yeah, I watched I think 3 episodes of it. I was like, "What the hell is this?" But all right, it's what we call the Midwest goodbye. You say "welp, I suppose," and then you talk for another 10 minutes. But
slap the knee.
Yep, I suppose. But all right, this time for real. Again, thank you, Ricardo, Andy, everyone out in the chat, anyone that's gonna watch this afterwards. Hit that like button, subscribe, share.
Absolutely.
Share the channel. Go subscribe to all Ricardo's stuff. Buy his books, or even at least look at them. Give him a view on the books. Check out.
It will never cost $5,000, I assure you.
Yes. It will at most $3,000.
Yes.
So, all right. You all have a wonderful night. If we don't see you till next week, have a good weekend. Take care. We'll see you next time.